Hey everyone, this is Jason Long from Brainleaf, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at harvest versus Toggl. So you may have seen in our last post that recently we moved from Toggl over to harvest, and we had actually been on harvest before. Over the years, we've kind of gone back and forth on a lot of this, on time tracking with a lot of different tools. And we've had some questions recently about why did we go from one to the other. So in this video, this is going to be a longer video, and it's going to take you through exactly why we did that and the aspects that we like and don't like about both systems. And I want to make sure to start off by saying that we are not getting paid for any of this. We're not affiliate marketers for Harvest or Toggl. This is just our honest opinion, or my honest opinion, of both systems, how they stand, and what's good and what's bad. So let's take a look. All right. So first off, here's our harvest versus Toggl battle. And we're going to go on to, closing this. There we go. Okay, so first off, we're going to take a look at pricing. So let's pull up a pricing one. Here we go. Okay, so first off, pricing. So Toggl has got these three plans. And really, Toggl's got two plans with monthly and annual. They've got the starter at $10 and the premium at $20, which I like those nice round numbers. And then if you pay for it by the year, it comes down by $1 basically, or $2 and $1. So that's pretty good. The difference is there's some automation. I really like this profitability charting, which I'm going to get to in just a minute. And the automation as far as tracking goes. Now with Harvest, this is what they show you initially. You get this free 12 and team plan, right? So if you'll notice, there's no like $20 a month plan. I'm going to go and take this to monthly. So there's no $20 per month plan. We've got this $12 per month plan, and that's about it. If you take it down, it comes down to basically $11. So this is interesting. This is good, but they don't tell you everything. And this part kind of pissed me off a little bit. So when you go into your plan and try to upgrade, like now I'm in the system, it's actually one person for 12 and then $5 for 49 and then $10 for 99, or 10 people for 99. So if you have 8 people, you're still paying $100 a month. So we have more than 10 people, so it's not such a big deal for us. But I didn't like that it was different here versus here. That was kind of a little frustrating. And it could also be, there's a possibility that I had just signed up for the system so long ago that I was grandfathered into some previous pricing system. That's a possibility. So, all right, so that's pricing. Next, let's take a look at usability. And this is one of the biggest things for me. So I've got my time tracker here. This was today, Friday the 15th. And you can see I'm doing this Brainleaf marketing thing of the day, Toggl versus Harvest. And I've been researching for about 22 minutes to get ready for this. So this is what the system looks like in Harvest. Sorry, it's taking a second to load with Zoom playing or running. All right, so this is what it looks like in Harvest. So the things that I really like about this is that as the leader here, I can come in really easy and switch to other people on my team. That's really, really helpful. I like the usability here a lot in that I can just click stop, start. This is very easy. If I want to edit, I can come in here and edit. And I can also change this to be just duration or start time and end time. There's a setting in the system that allows you just to see total duration, but I like start time and end time a lot. So I'm just gonna cancel and then I'm gonna click start it again. And you can see it starts another entry when I get started right here. if I want to do a new entry, I'm just going to press this new entry button, and I've got this nice, easy window to work with. So something else in here I really like is that I can see my days of the week really easily. I can read everything really easily. I feel like this is a well put together system. And I also really like the week aspect right here. So I just clicked on this week button, and it's going to pull up a view where I can see everything that's going on during that week, and I can edit numbers throughout the week. It's going to take a second because I'm running Zoom at the same time, but here you go. You can see how all my days were put together, how things look throughout the week, where my time was spent, etc. This is really helpful, especially if you're entering contractors' hours for them after the fact. It's really, really, really nice to have. And I can also go back and see how my team was using their time. So that's that. Now let's take a look at the UX for Toggl. So here's Toggl. So Toggl also is a very nice system. This is the thing that I'm doing. This really should be Brainleaf, and I want to make it thing of the day. There we go. And if you notice, it started to pre-fill as well. So if you have something that's really long, then it ends up being a little difficult to use this area. And I also this is one thing I really didn't like, is that, all right, so when I stop, you'll see that it's dropped in right here. I wasn't tracking time today in this system. I was just tracking in Harvest. But if I want to come back and edit this, I feel like this is a little harder to read versus this. I felt like this was easier to read. It was clearer. And I really didn't like having just this one little section here to edit. Let me think, like Brainleaf, search Brainleaf, and thing of the day. There it is. All right, so there was that, and then there's this. They do have these tags, which are really nice. I like the tags more than what Harvest has. But I don't like this time editing piece. This part is really annoying. The way that the time is edited in here is difficult. It's small. It's hard to see. It's hard to get it to save. You got to kind of click through. I had messed it up a number of times. And then if you notice, I went to click the delete button and just deleted. And I didn't get a warning. I didn't get anything. It just is gone. And that's really annoying. So I'm going to put this back in here. Brainleaf. Oops. All right, so Brainleaf. I hit tab instead of down. The day, there it is. So there's some usability stuff in here that I think is a little bit difficult. Overall, like I said, is good, but just some things kind of bug me, especially that delete item. Okay, so that's my overview on the Harvest versus Toggl UX for the timing system. And I feel like Harvest is a clear winner on this one. I feel like it's a lot easier to use, and it gives me a lot more flexibility as to seeing all the different days, what other people are doing, and having that week entry field. That's really, really nice. Okay, next on the list is going to be using the integrations. So I want to pull up, where did I put this one? Here we go. Okay, so what I've got here is I'm going to show you how we use this tool in JIRA and in Asana, and we're going to start with Asana. So when I click this one, this is the Harvest one. I think there it goes. Oh, hold on, give it a second. There it is. Okay, so I can see that so this is the one thing I really don't like about the way Harvest does the integration with Asana. That you see here, we've got this client, which I'm probably going to blur out before I actually let you guys, before I post this, but I've got a client right here. And it's not the client that I'm working on that this project is connected to. Let's double check, and I'm going to add this to just sales, and I just want to make sure that I'm 100% right. Yeah, it's the same one right here, same same thing. I can create this project sales, but it's not loading that project for me. And it could be that there's just not a project for it, but I think it hasn't loaded before. It does load all the data in and gives me a start and end, and I can just click start timer and it's going to start working. But I have to come in here and find this project first, which is a little bit annoying, but overall not terrible. So now let's take a look at the Toggl one. So once again, I actually like Harvest a lot more. The Toggl one is small again, and I still have to pick the project. Here, oops. And I still have to add the tags. It's a bit harder to use, in my opinion. It's not quite as smooth as the Harvest one. So that's the way Asana is done. And then we are heavy users of JIRA. So for some reason, JIRA is not loading right now. But within JIRA, whenever it loads, all right, come on, computer. Okay, here we go. In JIRA, I'm looking here at a ticket in JIRA for Brainleaf. It's improvement. And let's take a look at how both these time tracking systems work in JIRA. So we've got our regular time tracking right here, which is the JIRA time tracking. And then we've got our Toggl. So when I click start, we're just gonna, I don't have this installed right now. I have to go back and get that installed. Oh, that's frustrating. It was up a minute ago and I uninstalled it. Anyway, then we've got the Harvest time tracking, which looks like this, which looks a lot like the other Harvest time tracking areas. So within this system, you can see it's pulling up still that it's not linking these projects correctly again for me. Although it does autofill the notes and what the thing is and a number of other items, which are really, really helpful. But for both Toggl and Toggl and Harvest, the biggest problem is that it doesn't log the time back into the time tracking. So this is something you actually have to go into the JIRA marketplace or into the Atlassian marketplace and buy another system not built by either Toggl or Harvest to take the times that you logged through your time tracking system and then load them into JIRA. And unless you don't know why you need this for things like velocity tracking and burn down charts and just general time tracking to make sure you're making your estimates in JIRA, which is super, super important. So that's really annoying that neither one of them have that tool. And that was the main thing I was going to show here. Now, the difference is in Harvest, there's a tool that I think it's like $5 a month and then 95 cents per person. And then the tool for Toggl is like $5 per person. So, and that's third-party systems that are being used, that are being purchased. But the fact that I can add it for $1 per person versus $5 per person, and that was $1 for Harvest or $5 per person for Toggl, in my opinion, I know it doesn't have to do with either one of them, but it makes Harvest a winner for me as well, because we have a lot of people in JIRA, and $1 is not so bad, but you add 20 people times $5 or 100 people times $5, and now you're looking at some money. So yeah, so that's how that system works, and kind of my annoyance there. And now let's take a look at the reporting. Actually, before we do the reporting, let's do the different apps. So I've got the Harvest app right here. Oops. And pull this stuff up real quick. There we go. Give you a nice background. All right, we've got the Harvest app on this side, and we've got the Toggl app on this side. So what I like about the Harvest app, once again, they've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all listed right here. So I can click through to those different days and see what I was doing, where I was, etc. If I was working on something last night, I can come in and just click start on this thing again, which is really nice, and it just starts it the next day. Because a lot of times, you're working on the thing last night and then you just come right back into the next day. I also really like how they're giving me all of this information here. Now, the thing that I don't like is to start a new task is this little tiny button down here. I feel like there should be a bigger, clearer button. It's easy to kind of miss this thing. But once you do start it, you get right back into this thing. And I think that this actually loads whatever the last thing was that you were doing, the last task or the last project. All right, now the Toggl one. So we've got, you see, show harvest is still running. So I think I did that one from inside the app. So, and it loaded it right into here, which is very nice. Which, by the way, harvest, not as good about that. If I go down to take a look at this, if I start a new one here and I have the window open in harvest, it doesn't always start it. You have to click refresh to see what it's doing. But Toggl pretty much always logs it right away. Okay, so as you can see here, we don't get as much information. It's not as concise. But what I can do is I can click like this, and then I get more information here. I know like this really does have pretty good information, but I still like the way harvest layout is done. It's definitely a just a preference thing, but you know, I like that. I do also, something I really like about Toggl though, is I like how the timer's running and I can see it running really clearly. The problem with this, the thing that really annoys me, is that if I stop this and I start a new thing, JH, business development, all right, the note, like, so I want to take a note on what I'm doing. It's still there, but you can't see it. So I just typed in the word Jason and I click enter. So now I have to click and I'm like, oh yeah, I did type that thing in, there it is. So let's actually change this to Brainleaf thing of the day, there it is. But if I hadn't known to do that, it just wouldn't have been there, it wouldn't have worked. So personally, I like harvest, but I think these are kind of 12 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're pretty similar. The only big difference is this day by day thing. And I really do like those days and those totals being listed there. Okay. And last, but certainly not least, we've got reporting. So let's take a look at reporting. All right. So the thing that I feel like Harvest does really well is show all the tasks, all the people, all the things, all the projects, and it really gives you a great job of reporting. So, and by the way, it's not last. I just remember we've got a couple other features I forgot about. So here we get to see all of our clients, all the projects that are going on, tasks. We can see how everything is going in here, the build amount, the billable hours. The dark green is billable time, light green is unbillable time. Team management, so I can see my people and how many hours they've worked and how much of those hours are billable. And that's really nice. I really like the way they're doing that. Here on the dashboard in Harvest, I get basically the same information. I get this nice little chart here that gives me kind of a what's called a bubble graph of everything. This is really helpful. That shows me my day by day. Let me see if I've got a report view here. And then here in the report, we still have the summary, the detailed, and the weekly the same way that Harvest has. And we still have all the people, but I really like the visual aspects of Harvest. That's the visual aspect of the graph beside each person. However, I think the Toggl does a better job of this organization up here. You can come in here and see things by tags, by description, by team, by client, you can filter things more clearly with this system. And I really like that. So that's, I think that the winner on reporting is still Harvest, because I get more of what I'm looking for with this system. But I think that as time goes by, the winner for the day-by-day reporting may end up going to Toggl on that one. All right, So a couple other things I like about, oh, actually I forgot integrations. Harvest and Toggl integrate is for my company with everything that we need, which is going to be JIRA, Asana, Zapier. Um, those are my main ones. Oh, and QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a big one. In fact, that's one of the main items that goes towards Harvest, is that it has an auto QuickBooks integration, a QuickBooks Online integration, which is really, really good for us. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. And one downfall of Harvest is when you're exporting through Zapier to like Google Sheets, there's a problem. It's not a problem, but it's the way the system is built. You can't export the person's name. You can only export their ID. And it's really, really annoying. And if anybody from Harvest is watching this, I'd really appreciate it if you would fix that. That said, from Toggl, it's not much better, but I was trying to get all of my profitability reporting out by sending everything to Google Sheets. And I had to do a whole bunch of fancy Google Sheet stuff to be able to do that. And it was really, really annoying. But I digress. Overall, I still like Harvest more on this. However, Toggl has the Toggl Insights, which comes at the upgrade. That's the $30 per month. And for, they're going to give you profitability reporting and all sorts of other things. I really, really like that tool. But when we got up to having the number of people that we have, I'm sorry, it was $20 a month, not $30 a month. But when we had the number of people we had, it wasn't worth it. We could use other tools that plug into Harvest or into Google Sheets and create profitability reporting straight from there. So that part was, yeah, that's that. Let's see, what else? Okay, the last couple things I really, really like about Harvest versus Toggl. The first thing is this invoicing tool, and there's an expenses tab that's on here sometimes, but we don't use the expenses tab. But this invoicing thing, this is actually one of the other things that took us to this system, that really like hammered it in, that we needed to move over to Harvest. The thing with this, and we haven't started it yet, is that you can send invoices directly from the system, and when you send it, it copies it directly in to QuickBooks. So what this means for us is that I can have my project managers sending all of their own invoices without having to go into QuickBooks. And that's critical, because this way I know that they're watching their contractors, I know that they're watching their projects, they're watching their money, and they're sending out their own invoices, which takes it off of our billing department, which is really, really good, because that's like a half to full-time job, depending upon the week, just sending and collecting on invoices. And before, when we were on QuickBooks, we're sending everything through QuickBooks. The project manager had to tell the billing person to send the bill, and then the billing person had to go and follow up, and it was kind of a mess. But now we're moving over to this Harvest QuickBooks integration thing, and I also really like how they've got the retainers and the recurring payments in here, which are really, really nice. And there's also reporting, which we're not using yet because we haven't started on the invoicing, but we're starting that next week. I think, yeah, you can also come in here and see more information about all your different projects. I just clicked on the projects tab. And yeah, there's a lot of other features that I could go into with Harvest versus Toggl, but this is where what I've done so far is a pretty good overview. One other thing I really did like before I wrap up is that on these projects, you can see how this one is, I'm gonna have to fuzz that out for you, but you can see that the budget here, we've got a monthly budget and our spend that we've used so far for this month on this project, which by the way is a bit low. So that's really helpful to see how far along we are each month on those recurring payment projects or those retainer projects. There's another one down here. You can see about how far we are on that as well. That's also a really nice tool. I think that at this point, Harvest is just a more mature tool than Toggl is. Toggle's still a great tool, definitely worth looking at. For us, I really liked the way the integrations are done, the UX of Harvest, and the fact that we get those invoices in there. Those things were just critical to us. And then also the auto export through Zapier was really, really important. So for this particular little battle, the winner goes to Harvest, in my opinion. Like I said, Toggl, still a great tool, but for us, for what we were looking for, Harvest was the clear winner. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to double check my tabs real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything. We covered that, we covered that, we covered that. Make sure I didn't miss anything on this tab. Oh yeah, I did want to show you, here are all of the things for Toggl. You can see all of the things they integrate with, which is really a lot of stuff. Like, they really do a good job going through all of that. And if you want to take a look at the Harvest one, I had it open somewhere. Yeah, here it is. They really integrate with a ton of stuff as well. They both do great jobs on that. Anyway, that's it. That is my overview of these two. Winner goes to Harvest. There we go. I hope this was helpful for you. Have a great day.